What's up, guys? How y'all doing today? So, I just got back from the Chantilly car show, which is about 20 to 30 miles outside of Washington, D.C. So, technically, it is the Washington, D.C. show. I don't really know the history of it, but I believe it's one of the older shows because well, they say that they have the biggest signers, like the most signers at a show that is not the National Card Show. Um, I guess that show, the Chantilly I think it's CSA car show, and the Houston TriStar shows are two of the biggest signer shows in America, from what I know, because I know the previous 2 years or something, the TriStar show is the one that brings the signers to the national, right? I don't know if they are connected. I feel like in this network, in this business now, everybody kind of knows each other now, and yeah, it's pretty hard not to work together anymore. But this CSA show in Chantilly, the president of the National Car Show there, he sets up there. He's the guy with all the PSA 10 out of 99 true RPA national treasures of quarterbacks. So that's pretty cool to see all those PSA 10s in 6 cases. It's pretty cool. He has like all the current big name quarterbacks besides Patrick Mahomes. He has Joe Burrow, Herbert, um, Josh Allen's, all those guys. I am now getting ready for the Minnesota Car Show that is coming up in 2 weeks from this video that I'm making right now. So the Minnesota Car Show is happening April 18th to the 22nd of 2024. I finally was able to get a table just a couple days ago and got my cases and everything ready. So now I'm just pricing out my cars and getting my inventory ready to bring over. I am flying, unfortunately, so I can't bring everything with me, but I will try to bring as much as I can because I have one 8-foot table and I rented out 4 showcases from Zion Case, and hopefully they all can fit, all 4 cases can fit on the 8-foot table, and I can fill out all 4 cases. So my game plan is kind of like for the Bourbon Car Show is 2 cases will be Pokemon and 2 cases will be sport cards. 1 case will be all slabs. 1 case will be all raw cards. That is my game plan. Hopefully it looks good because it's good to have variety. I know we are at a sport car show, so of course I would assume that 90% of the vendors and 95% of the customers that walk through the door are there for sport cars and looking for sport cards. So it's nice to have sport cars to buy and trade and sell with people that comes in there with the 90% of the people in there. But I know that Pokemon TCG is also growing, and of course, on especially on Sundays, families and parents will come in with their kids, and of course, who loves Pokemon more than kids? So we have Pokemon cards, and we can get a few dollars in and out with those Pokemons. And in my opinion, I can get better, or in my experience, in my opinion, I guess too. I can get better margins on Pokemon cards. People are more willing to sell you cards at 80 to 75% or less. It is very, very hard to get really high end cards right now in the sport card economy for 75%. Yes, sometimes you can get 1 or 2 card, or if you buy a whole entire table of like 10,000 cards for like $50,000, and you can say that you bought a Fleer Jordan for 50% if you add it in all that stuff, and do your little math thing. Sure, if you want to call it like that. But if you're just buying one single card, like this, for example, a gold Kaboom PSA 10, you can't buy this card for 70 or 75%. It's just not realistic unless some guy just really, really, really desperate for money. He would sell you this card, but there's gonna be multiple comps on this. It's not gonna. There's only 10 of this card. It's a pot 4. How many sales can it be? Say 10 sales, but all the sales will all be different. There'll be like $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. Like it's so different. Are you paying 75% of the $5,000, or are you paying 75% of the $1,000 that sold like in 2022 or something like that? It's just very difficult to buy high-end sport cars right now for 75%, in my opinion. That's why I'm saying that when you go to big car shows, if you are not a vendor, I think it is good to just sell cards and to trade cards, because if you want to buy cards and you're not a vendor, it's very, very, very competitive, especially right now. Every single 3-day car shows is filled with sharks. You can tell that they are sharks when they have a rolling suitcase with them, and no backpack, nothing, and it's on the first day. Vendor setup day on Thursday, and you see those guys walking around with markers and sticky notes. Those are the sharks. More power to them. They pay pretty strong. Some of them pay around 85 to 90%. They pay really strong. They sell. Some of them work for repackers, so they buy cars at high percentage and they can sell cars at full price. So more power to them, but it is very competitive. It's very hard to compete with those guys. You cannot pay 85 to 90% when you sell a card for $100 on eBay. You cannot pay $85 on it, because eBay takes 15% already, and you gotta ship it and you gotta pay taxes. So you're losing money if you're paying at 85% as just a normal vendor. But those repacker guys can pay at 120% because they sell cars for 10,000%. It is very awesome for them. Good for them. Um, but my point is, if you are not a vendor, if you are not set up as a vendor or have a table at a big 3-day car show, it's just so hard to compete with those guys. I should know, because this last weekend here at Washington Chantilly Car Show, it is a decent sized show. It's not the biggest show. It's not a Dallas show. It's like the venue is not that big. And literally everybody was there. Like everybody that you can think of was there. Car Collector 2, Sport Car Investor, everybody was there. All the YouTube flippers, sharks, literally everybody was there. I'm like, wow, why there's so many people here? It was so competitive. It was like, holy crap, this is like the Shark Tank. This is like the deep ends, the shark nest. It was infested with sharks. I was able to buy like 5 sport card. I had to find alternative routes, uh, going towards Pokemon. I had just like, you know what? People are here for sport cards and they're not worried about Pokemon cards. So I was able to get better deals with the vendors on Pokemon cards, but it was infested with sharks and it was so hard. I didn't have a table, so I couldn't come in on Thursday, which is vendor setup day. When I came in on Friday, literally like an hour or two like after the venue opened, half the vendors' tables were gone, all their inventories were gone. They were saying like on Thursday, vendor setup day, there were people lining up just to get inside. I'm like, what the heck? This is insane. Um, but yeah, it is wild out there. But I'm happy. That's good. That means that the hobby is strong. People are spending money. When the sharks the repacker guys buy out the vendor's table, they have money to spend. So when people walk in on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, they will buy more cards from them because they have money to spend and they'll have more inventory. And the economy just turns and turns and turns and turns. So that is not bad. But all I'm saying is it's very competitive if you do not have a table. And if you go into a big 3 day car shows, bring inventory to sell and inventory to trade, because I think you do a lot better than going to a small 1 day car show. And if you want like very, very high end cards, big 3D car shows is also great for that too. You can pick up, trade, and sell and buy very high end cards. Um, but it's a lot of money, so just gotta be careful with that. Small 1 day car shows, I personally would not set up anymore unless it's like a hometown show that's like 3 hours away or something that I can just go there in the morning and come back at night. I think 1 day car shows is great to go buy from vendors and just make deals at, because there's less traffic. A lot of the vendors are just gonna be sitting there bored. A lot of the times they're like amateurs. They're just like they just do it for fun. It's just like a hobby. They don't do it full time, so they'll be more willing to work out deals with you. I mean, obviously, there's gonna be some guys that are like 2020 comps and they won't budge. If you see those guys, then just say thank you and just move on. Um, but I think 1 day car show is like you know hidden gem. Sometimes you find something cool in there, and sometimes it's a dud, but you gotta go in there and find out. Um, but a big 3 day car shows, I do recommend. If you guys thinking about setting up as a vendor, I do recommend trying to get a table at 3 day car show, because you got 3 days to, well, technically 4 days, because sometimes they'll have vendor setup day, which is the day before that. So you have multiple days to set up, to get ready. You get like hundreds and thousands of people that will walk by your show. You got to talk to a lot of people. You can network and stuff like that. So I think it's great. You get a lot more volume in. And a lot of like 1 day car shows, tables are like what, $50 to $100 a day. 3 day car shows, usually they're like 200 to like $300. I mean, there's like some really high end ones that are like 500-600, but those are like Burbank, California. Uh, I think like the next like most expensive one is like Dallas, which is like $300, 350 or something like that. And I think it's worth it. All right, guys. So I'll show you guys some of the cars that I'll be bringing to the Minnesota car show with me. So I just picked this up this last weekend. Gold Kaboom out of 10, PSA 10. Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. So pretty cool. And if you guys are interested in any of these stuff or want to message me and talk to me about any of these, you can message me on Instagram at GMFIRED. So shout out to Rothcard. He loves Sam Howell. Personally, back like the last 2 years, I was not a Sam Howell fan, was not a believer. But you know what? This card was a $2,000 card just 6 months ago, and now it's less than half of that. So I see the value here. We can make a play on it. Plus, he is traded to the Seattle Seahawks. Unless he's just like straight up scrub, he should be able to beat Geno Smith for the starting quarterback spot, and he got pretty good receivers there with DJ Metcalf and other weapons he has. And look at they got Russell Wilson a Super Bowl, and see what happened with Russell Wilson when he left the Seahawks. He got cut in like 2 years, so we'll see. It's you never know. It's football. It's not guaranteed that he is going to start, but there's an opportunity there, and for the price that we are getting in at, I think this is a good gamble. And next we got another NTRPA is Jonathan Kamingas. The Warriors are on the verge of making the play-in, so we will see what happens. The playoff doesn't start yet, but right now they are number 10. In Kaminga's RPA, he is the third guy right now. I think Steph Clay, and he's the third best scorer. He came back and dropped a 20-point game, so young guy. Hopefully we'll see what happens. And last but not least is this first edition from base set Venusaur, signed by the artist that drew this card, and the same artist drew the famous first edition Charizard as well. So very nice. I actually picked this up at Bourbon Car Show on the last day. Took a risk on it. I got it in at a fair price, so we'll see what happens. Alright guys, well that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching my video, and please, if you haven't yet, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like and comment down below. It really helps the algorithm show other people my videos, and hopefully my channel can grow. So I really appreciate it. And also, if you guys are going to the Minnesota car show, stop by my table. I am at section Q, table 13, seat 1. I don't know, but just go over there. If you see me, come and say hi. We can make some deals. We can buy, sell, trade, whatever. I got sport cars, Pokemon cards, everything. Fire out! Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!